Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren from Lauren and the Books. And today is a first on my channel. First of all, the first thing is that my hair is looking fantastic. But the first video, oh fucking hell, mucked that up, didn't I? I'm doing the first ever mid-month wrap-up today. So normally I always do a wrap-up at the end of the month, but this month I've read a book every day so far. So today is the 12th and I haven't finished a book today, but I've read 11 books so far this month. Some of them small, some of them not so small, but I had a really bad reading month last month where I only read 3 books and thought that I would, in order to sort of like G myself up for a bit more, I would read some smaller books and aim to read a book a day, which I've managed to do. Now, I don't know if I will do this continuing in August because I've pretty much exhausted all my short books. But I am partway through 4 books and an audiobook. So there is a good chance that I will still be finishing a good few books as the month's going on. So I thought I would do a mid-month wrap-up. So 11 books, as I said. Well done me. I've got an avocado on my t-shirt. And we'll start with the first book that I finished, which was A Portable Shelter by Kirsty Logan. So this is a beautiful naked hardback. Look at it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I don't even feel like that's in focus, is it? Who knows? It's gorgeous. It's got all these shells and loveliness. It is a selection of short stories, which has got a thread running through it of two, excuse me, I've got a cough, two mothers who are having a baby, and one of them, and they decide to tell their child no lies. They'll only tell her truths. So when the mother who has the baby in the tum-tum is asleep, the other mother tells stories, and when the other mother is at work, the mother with the baby in the tum-tum tells the stories, and they tell stories from their childhoods, they tell stories about members of their family, etc, etc. And it was just a really lovely read. I read a short story every time I was in the bath, which was a really nice thing to do, and it was something I'd aimed to do this to continue with another short story collection, but I haven't. I've been reading other stuff in the bath, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, really enjoyed this. 3 stars. The next book was a reread of mine, which I read for my online book club, and that was The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Now, I really enjoyed this when I read it when I was a university student, which is like over 10 years ago, and was looking forward to revisiting it. And I also want to watch the series on, I believe it was on Channel 4, yeah.
I'm listening.
Oh, Siri wants to know. Sorry, Siri, it's nothing to do with you. Bye. And I really love this. I love this even more the second time. It's so weird, the little bits that stayed with me from this. So I remembered, for instance, like she steals a sachet of butter and keeps it in her shoe in her cupboard and uses it as moisturiser. And I remembered like every single detail of that. And even weirder than that is I was living in university halls when I first read this, and I had a cupboard in my bedroom, which I sort of, that's how I saw her room, as my university room, which doesn't say much for the accommodation at the University of Kent, but it was lovely accommodation. But I just had this cupboard and I've envisaged it, and when I was rereading it I was like just imagining the cupboard at my university halls. I really love this. It's about a world where not many people can have children anymore, and they use these handmaids for them to carry their children, and it's just about women being oppressed, and it's scarily close to what could happen, but amazing. And I'm sure everyone has read it, but if you haven't, it really is awesome. Amazing. 4 stars I gave it. The next book, 5-star book, one of my favourite books of the year, and I'm not just saying it because she's my pal, but David and I read Franklin's Flying Bookshop by Jen Campbell, and we absolutely adored it. We read it aloud to each other. This is such a gorgeous, gorgeous book, written by Jen and illustrated by Katie Harnett, about just a lovely dragon. It is so gorgeous. This is about Franklin, and I will introduce Franklin as he introduces himself. I'm Franklin, says Franklin, and he holds out his hands. I'm a dragon who loves books, and I live in a cave. And there he is. He is a dragon that loves books, and he lives in a cave. This was amazing. David and I both adored it, didn't we, David? David loved it. We both loved it. I'm going to be buying this for all the little people in my life this Christmas because it is just beautiful. One of the best books I've ever read. Like one of the most beautiful, wonderful picture books I've ever read. Really loved it. Can't wait to smile on my face. Nostalgic, funny, gorgeous, just beautiful. Really adored it. Thanks so much for this, Jen. It's a gift to the world. The next book I read is also one that I saw initially on Jen's channel, and that was Grandad's Island. Now, this is a library book, so I do apologise. It's a bit shiny. This was a picture book that I picked up from the library after having seen it on Jen's channel. It is a story about a young chap, Sid, and his granddad, who go on adventures together, and like sort of story adventures. And one day they go on an adventure to Grandad's island, and Grandad has to sort of say to Sid, I'm not going to come home from this adventure, I'm going to stay on this island, because he's getting a bit old and things like that. And oh my god, I was crying. The artwork in it is beautiful. The colours are amazing. It'd be a really great tool to use with children. I feel like it helped me a lot, and just in terms of coming to terms with death of family members. And yeah, it was just lovely. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really loved that. Well done. So then we continue with the shorter books. The next one I read was Esio Trot by Roald Dahl. This is one of my favourite Roald Dahl books. I would put this and Matilda are probably my favourites. Matilda but this always stays in one of my favourites because it's just so short and so weird. Such a weird love story. It is about a couple, Mr. Hoppy and Mrs. Silver, who live in flats. Mr. Hoppy lives above Mrs. Silver. And he's always been in love with Mrs. Silver. Mrs. Silver has a little tortoise called Alfie, and she loves Alfie so much, and she just wants Alfie to get bigger. So Mr. Hoppy goes to quite some lengths in order to make Alfie appear as though he's getting bigger, just so he can have Mrs. Silver's attentions and affection. So very cute, very short, obviously lovely, like weirdness of Roald Dahl, really great. Oh, that's a bit of a spoiler. Really great illustrations from Quentin Blake. Really nice. Enjoyed that. 4 stars. The next one I read was The Magic Finger, which I hadn't read before. And this is I've got a collection of Roald Dahl books that all have spines like this, and I have them all together. My dad bought it for me. Thanks, Dad. And this was very cute as well. These were just 2 short books I read back to back to sort of get a book a day done, which I was still impressed that I did. And yeah, lovely, about a family that enjoy a girl who lives next door to a family that enjoy hunting ducks, and she's got a magic finger, and she says, I'm not going to have this anymore, and she swaps the ducks and the Gregg family's lives. Oh, Minnie's just coming out from under the sofa, and we always say she's in her bedroom when she's in there. It's very cute. She's being mental today, isn't she? She's being really excitable. Yes, very enjoyable. 3 stars, I think I gave that. The next one I read was a big book. I didn't just read small books. I read The House at Riverton, which is almost 600 pages long. The House at Riverton by Kate Morton. Kate Morton, I've read another one of her books, but I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called. Might be called The Secret Garden. Have they got a list of her books in here? No. Might be called The Secret Garden. No, they definitely haven't. And Kate Morton's books follow the same sort of idea in each book. They've all got very, very similar front covers as well. So it's about something that happened in the past, and a family member or that person who is now very, very old is revisiting it or telling it to a family member. So that's and that's really what happens in here. So it follows the story of a lovely young lady called Grace who works in service in 1914, before the First World War. And I loved that bit. I found that really cosy and very reminiscent of Downton Abbey, which is one of my favourite TV programmes. And her sort of working her way up from being a housemaid, and then she becomes a lady's maid and things like that. And it's also following the story of the 2 girls who are in the house that she works in, the 2 sisters, Emmeline and Hannah. And Hannah and Grace are very similar ages, and she feels like a sort of very, very close bond with Hannah, and she ends up becoming Hannah's lady's maid. There's murder, there's suicide, there's affairs, there's service, there's all sorts of exciting stuff going on in here, and I really, really loved it. And then in the present world, they're making a film of the sisters' lives, so she's sort of revisiting it with this film producer and things like that. I really, really loved it. I really love Kate Morton. I'm really sure the other one I read was called The Secret Garden. If I say the words the authoress, that was the one that I've read. If anyone's read any other Kate Morton books, I would love to hear which ones. She's got a more recent one out called The Lake House. I might give that a go. But yeah, very, very, these are very, very plot heavy sort of semi-historical fiction books, which moves along quite quickly. But yeah, it was a joy to pick up every time. And for a really, really big book, I really loved it. So very enjoyable. Gave that 4 stars because I would have given it 5 stars, but it was probably about 100 pages too long. They could have left out a few bits in it. The next 2 books that I've read are picture books that I got from the library earlier this week. The first one I really, really loved. I gave this 5 stars as well. It's Fantastically Great Women Who Changed the World by Kate Pankhurst. So I went and got these. I love to get a picture book from the library. And this has got a double page spread on some of the world's most amazing women. So Frida Kahlo's there, Marie Curie, Mary Anning, Amelia Earhart, Mrs. Seacole, and just beautiful, accessible facts about these amazing women who've lived throughout throughout the ages, throughout the times, and I absolutely loved it. Really beautiful and like fun illustrations. I learned stuff in here that I didn't know. I really think this is actually fun for all the ages. I would probably say I would start it from about like 7 or 8, because I think any younger than that it's a bit too wordy. It's not really wordy, but there's like these passages and things like that. But I learned from this. I loved this. I think I'm going to buy this for myself because I got it out from the library and I really loved it. And just beautiful artwork and facts and just fun and important facts for all girls and everyone to know. So I gave that 5 stars. The next one I also got out on that very same day, and this is Imaginary Fred. Sorry again about the glare. And this is Owen Colfer and Oliver Jeffers. Now I follow Oliver Jeffers on Instagram. He's got a wonderful Instagram account. He's an illustrator, and this is about a imaginary friend by who goes by the name of Fred. I really like the illustrations in this. They're very, very simple. And then Fred, if we get to Fred is done in this sort of like dotty blue colour. And he says that Fred's an imaginary friend, and he makes a lot of friends over the years, but gradually they forget about him. So he fades as time goes on. And then when he meets a new imaginary friend, he's much like the colours are much more stronger until he fades and things like that. So it was very, very cute, very sweet. I really like his illustrations anyway, so I gave that 3 stars, I think. And then the last one is one that I bought yesterday when I was at Dave's Comics in Brighton. It is a short story graphic novel by Robert Hunter and published by Nobrow called The New Ghost. This was, they had a selection of these, all of about £6, and I was like, oh, they're lovely. And I said I'd treat myself to one, and this one just stuck out at me. I think it's, first of all, this front cover is absolutely gorgeous. Look, the blues, pinks, and then this sort of like silhouette. And then as you go throughout, they are the main colours that are in this, and it's just gorgeous. This is another one I'm going to be having out on display, and it's about a ghost and his first day in the job, and what he ends up getting up to. And I can't really tell you more than that, guys, because it's quite short, and if I tell you any more than that, I'll tell you the whole story. But I really thought this was lovely. I gave it 4 stars. I would definitely be looking more into Nobrow. It's really nicely published, like lovely little French flats. The end papers are gorgeous, and just really nice little things that I can now have out to display. So those are the 11 books that I've read in August so far this month. Really impressed with myself. I'm going to power through. I don't know if I'll do a book a day for the rest of the month, but I'm really pleased that I've read that many books already and found some really good ones. But yeah, Franklin's Fine Bookshop. It has my heart. So thanks so much. What have you guys been reading? Tell me some of your favourite picture books. I'm always interested to hear people's favourite picture books. I'm looking for lovely nostalgic stories and or feminism picture books or beautiful artwork. They're the sort of things I'm into. Love to hear people's favourite picture books. And what have you guys been reading? And I will see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Bye! Realised I forgot a book. And I've summed up and everything. It's because I read it on my Kindle and I didn't have it there. I reread the short stories from Hogwarts collection of heroes, heroism, hardships. Oh my God, I never know what it's called. Hold on, let's have a look. It is called Short Stories from Hogwarts of Heroism, Hardship and Dangerous Hobbies. So this is a selection of short stories that J.K. Rowling released last year, I believe. It's not so much short stories, it's more like background information on. And I re-listened to Harry Potter. Oh God, that as well. That was another one I've finished as well. So 2 more books that I finished that I didn't include in my wrap up is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I won't go into that, but I finished the audiobook of that. And whilst I was reading that, it gets to the bit where Dolores Umbridge decides to sack Sybil Trelawney, and there's a really lovely bit in there where McGonagall is just amazing and is like being really sympathetic and wonderful to her. While I was listening to that, I was like, there is a whole section on McGonagall in the the short stories from Hogwarts, Heroism, Hardship and Dangerous Hobbies. Now, there's a whole section on McGonagall and about her backstory, her parents, her life before Hogwarts, a marriage she had, etc., etc. And I wanted to revisit that, and I read the whole thing in the bath in one sitting, and it really is lovely. It's got a lovely bit in there about Lupin as well and his backstory, and his relationship with Tonks and things like that. It's just a really nice sort of extra bonus Harry Potter stuff. That has come from the source of J.K. Rowling. So I really would recommend it. They've got 3 selections. One is called Heroism, Hardship and Dangerous Hobbies. The other one is called Short Stories from Hogwarts of Power, Politics and Pesky Poltergeists. And then the other one I think is called Short and Unreliable Hogwarts, an Incomplete and Unreliable History. No. Hogwarts, an incomplete and unreliable guide, and you can only get them on Kindle, unfortunately, but they are really, really great, and if you're looking for some more Harry Potter gear, then that's where you should go. So yeah, 2 bonus books I didn't include in my wrap up because I didn't have them physically here with me, but yeah, so anyway, I will definitely go now. Bye!